Rhianon-Guest. She is a poet from the Writing Squad, which is a kind of, it's local northwest, is that right? Northwest and northeast, actually. The north. An organisation of poets and writers and creative people. Some of her poems we find online. She's been published in Magma, The Cadaverine, and in the Writing Squad's magazine Push. I'm sure we'll post up some links so you can see them later. And I'm really excited to hear her stuff. Welcome, Fielding!
Hiya. So I've got a few poems that are like on the theme, so I'll start with one of those. It's a series of haiku, and it's about the afterworld, the afterlife. So it's called Haiku for Ghosts. The lonely room keeps its silence. Shuddering dust cloths have nothing beneath. Take heart, doorbells won't ring themselves, you know. We have all heard the chime now. Somewhere underneath the still floorboards waits a lie that won't withhold. Take heart, you are not as slow as they always said. Use the handrail, dear. Who is listening? Surely that must be a moth or a bird caught in... This poem is called Stone Soup. It's basically a retelling of a traditional folk tale where this guy comes into town and he's got a cauldron and he wants everybody to give him free food because he's poor. But nobody is like giving, and they're all terrible people, so they're like, no. So he puts his pot in the middle of town and he fills it with water, and then he gets each person in the village to put like one thing in the pot by kind of being like, well, this is the best soup in the world already, but if it had, you know, a carrot, it would be even better, and then you could have some. So that's what it's about. Stone Soup. A cauldron arrives empty in the town square. So the first thing must be cold water. So the second thing must be river-rolled stone, so be it. Let the huge orange, red, and sweet carrots with lilting green wedding day hats, and your mother's careful herbs saved up for certain occasions, and fat golden potatoes pulled straight from the warm mulched ground, and the best pieces left from the Sunday roast, and coinish things of purple-rimmed radishes, and lacy white flakes of salt from the highest shelves come when they come. So you tell me I may not take. So you swear you cannot give. So you ask me to wait over a boiling nothing. I must warn you about folk tales and fox-faced tricksters who grin as if they know something you don't. Beggars who make you desperate for their dead and brown mosses, even when the greenest and softest grasses line your own garden. I must warn you that I can wait until you have won yourself over and poured the 100 most perfect sugar snap peas into my mouth. This is the one really long one I'm going to subject you to. It's called Aeolian Processes. It's about the way the wind shapes the shape of the earth. So if you've ever seen a picture, you can tell I'm American. If you've ever seen a picture, or if you've been to like Arches National Park in the US, it's got like those kind of red rocks that are in like weird shapes and stuff like that because wind has brushed over them for a million years until they look really cool. So that's an aeolian process. Anytime the wind is doing something to the earth, that's what it's called. At the beginning of the world, the moon was yawned into existence, born from the cool condensing breath of fast-moving comets reflected on the still water. The moon fell in love with the tired sea and pulled relentlessly until oceans shuddered into waves, sighing. This is how your personal wind was born. Your wind had its rebellious teenage years. She carried the first bird aloft once it had finished that evolving business, pushed Odysseus off course, had a run-in with your many times great-grandmother while she stood high on chalk cliffs at the storm-ridden daybreak. With clever hands, she wove your wind into superstitious ship rope. She sang through leaves, ruffled feathers, fell in with a hurricane, but on the day you were born, she was ready as promised, pushing her way eagerly into your barely finished lungs before any other air had the chance. Breath that was breathed by Eleanor Roosevelt, Shakespeare definitely, by bears on distant tundra, sleeping dogs, breath that ballooned the lungs of the man who didn't, by some dumb luck, kill your then 16-year-old grandfather in the war. Your wind loves you unconditionally, unconsciously, like only something you do not even know is with you can. Your wind saves your marriage twice with softened doors and brushes hair out of your eyes and steals bad news out of your hands before you can look. Your wind writes you letters, roughs up the sand from the grey beach and sends it swirling out to a lighthouse point in low billows of stinging, reverent grit. When you die, your wind will knock the hats off those who think ill of you and cause no less than 3 of your unpleasant second cousins to shiver nervously at your well-attended final yard sale. She'll remember each of the letters of your name until they are worried away from your gravestone. When ghosts are no longer needed and every thought of you is done, your wind will go home to the sea and fall asleep, drifting into absence, rolled into the lungs of whales and the moon's memory of tidal yearning. Called the Evelyn Tables, and it's about, if you've ever been to the Hunterian Museum, it's in London. It's like a creepy museum filled with like some old dude's collection of like everything you never wanted to see in a jar on a shelf. And it has, at the very beginning, it has like these really ancient preparations, like these big tables that have different systems of the body kind of like put onto them, and it's just cool because you're standing there like, this is some guy from the 1600s, like a little person's veins, before people even knew about this like stuff very much, so it's quite cool. The Evelyn Tables. They laid you out in the early hours when it was still chilly. You were a breakfast spread for teaching that the heart hurts when it hurts back, when we only knew that the heart wants when it wants. The spinal cord, the arteries that carry blood away on expedition, the veins to bring fresh air home, the lungs to breathe the air, the liver to taste a drink, the spanning hands of bronchial trees, the systematic nervous sympathies of overtired Italian medical students fawning over your body, which probably no one cared about until all the parts which you had liked best of yourself, your foppish hair, your surprisingly clean fingernails, the glossy O of your yawning morning mouth, all were carefully sectioned away. Only the parts of you you had never known were there were all glued down and hung. Don't get me wrong, I like you like this, a constellation of a man, a fanning coral who does not even look real, safe in your reliquary of internal science. This poem is called Manic Pixie Dream Girl Sonnet Number 3. And I'm really excited because it's the first time I've ever read it to an audience where some people will know already what a Manic Pixie Dream Girl is. Anyway, for those of you who don't, I'll do my best explanation in 20 seconds. It's like a character trope of a girl whose only job in a story is to like make some really boring dude suddenly become cool and understand the majesty of the universe by falling in love with her because she's like so quirky and crazy. But she doesn't really do anything herself. She's just quirky and crazy. So this is a poem for her. She's speaking back to us now, sort of, in a way. Emmeline of the short hair out late at night. Emmeline of the short skirt out late at night. Emmeline of the librarian good looks. Always asking for something, always shy. She is definitely giving you the look. She is walking home from the party early. Think for a moment about the shape of her, reaching up to the high shelf, asking for something. Emmeline out late at night. Emmeline with a mind of her own. She listens to the waves crash against the rocks because it's lovely like everybody else, not because she knows something you don't. Forget her dark eyes and promise you won't. I've got not that many more for you. This one is another that's kind of relevant to the theme. It's called Bougainvillea, and it's sort of a love letter to Borges, who's like a granddaddy of speculative fiction. So, Bougainvillea, Borges villa that waters the hills with pink and purple, a house that baby babbles itself to sleep after a hard cry and has a large underground library and several compendia of beasts that are generally but wrongly accepted as imaginary. There are always those certain trees that everyone agrees were born from the seeds sown by Dr. Seuss, monkey puzzles sleeping under the Whitby coast, slumbering themselves into funeral jet of Prince Consort Albert's death as the papery petals of bougainvillea swimming through humid summer night air into the sleeping minds of authors across South America.
Yeah, that's cool, yeah.
Okay. This is a breakup poem. It's very typical breakup poem, sad stuff. Everyone has breakup poems somewhere if they've broken up with people. This is called November. Not very seasonally appropriate, sorry. I heard you laughing this morning and it sounded like the radiator ticking. I wish you would quit leaving fingernail clippings in the bathroom sink like a shedding of yellowing leaves and stop pushing your hailstone toes under my legs, stealing white clouds of my breath. This is the final season, Earth falling asleep, crawling into a heartbreak duvet of dirt. A red-bellied robin carries Christmas card berries, several stilted coffee catch-ups into our future. The low settling house is never here anymore, and even hibernating, we will never have enough room. Another Pluto poem. Yay, Pluto. It's very short. I wrote it today because I was like, I really have to get one that's explicitly other worlds in here at least. So this is called Pluto. And yeah, this is my second last poem, so thank you so much for having me. It's been really lovely to have you all. This is such a big crowd, it's very exciting to talk to so many people. Pluto. Frontiersmen are after you. Hold yourself still as ice. Smile for the picture, with your secrets kept all this time. Who else might have looked at you? Winter is still months off, my underworld sweetheart. Drifts. Time slips, steals himself for a glance back at the brightest star. Who else is still to come? This poem is for a friend. It's about being we went on a holiday on the coast and we went walking and we were in this little tiny town called Stays and we were trying to walk to Whitby. It was way too far, we misjudged. But we got like a bit of the way along, and as we were walking back that afternoon, it was like there was a huge thunderstorm, like the most exciting, like terrifying, life-threatening thunderstorm I've ever been in. That was really like a non-religious person's religious experience, and I basically thought I was going to die, but I thought it was in a good way. My friend did not think it was in a good way, so this poem is for her. Thine is the glory. Lauren, this poem is for you because you did not love the storm today. We counted at the flash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The thunder when it came was a rolling swell. But we were fishing boats harbored by gorse hedges high on either side. We promised you that we were more than halfway back. You were borne along, but when the rain started, you capsized. We counted at the flash. 1, 2, 3. The crash that followed made us laugh out loud and grab each other's hands. You clutched at the straps of your backpack. No one promised you anything. The rain was crawling into our shoes. We ran our fingers through our hair and held our arms open. You furled. When the flash came again, there was no time to count before the thunder shattered the sky right above us. We were so hot with light and sound that steam might have been raising from our sodden skins. You seemed wounded, small in the field of yellow nodding flowers. Lauren, I'm writing this poem for you because this afternoon you crawled under the duvet when I sang a song about your name. You couldn't listen to the sound of your own name, repeated once, twice, 3 times. But I promise that sound cannot unmake you. You did not open your arms when the thunder sat over us for long moments on the edge of the cliffs and shook our rib cages open. I was sad when the storm closed you. What I think I am trying to tell you is that you are perfect. I don't mean that everything in you is good. I just mean that our hair is stuck to our necks and we can hardly see and the sky is yelling at you. I think you would feel better if you spoke back.